What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. In this video, we are going to be breaking down three major questions that detailers ask when they are thinking about getting into ceramic coatings and when they start applying ceramic coatings, and trying to give you guys as good of an answer as is possible to help you to continue to move forward in a really effective way. Now, for those of you who are tuning in and you're like, hey, I don't even know how to correct paint, I have no idea where to start with ceramic coatings, make sure to go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free 5-part video series where we literally break down step by step not only how to break into the ceramic coating game today and start making money applying coatings and installing them, but also how to get your hands on a polisher, do it well, make sure that you're getting the right tools and products and not wasting time and money figuring things out and doing things the wrong way through trial and error. Again, that's a free 5-part video series below in the YouTube description box. So just for a little context here, in this video, I'm applying just a retail grade TiO2 titanium oxide coating from, I believe, CarPro to this Mercedes here. This is a friend slash client of mine who bought a Mercedes. He actually runs his own business as well and is a super successful entrepreneur and rewarded himself with a great product launch with this Mercedes. So we want to make sure that it is kept basically in like new condition with this ceramic from the beginning, and that's why we're applying it now. Now, the first major question that almost everybody ends up asking when it comes to ceramic coatings is, do I have to learn paint correction and correct paint before I apply a ceramic? So I just want to break that question down with a few different perspectives. Number one, I think it is important to point out that with any type of coating that is designed to protect paint, one of kind of the rules of thumb that is going to just be a good basic kind of fundamental truth is, if that protection, whether it's a ceramic, a sealant, or a wax, is applied to a painted surface on a vehicle that has been corrected, that is going to increase the durability and longevity of the coating. So it's just worth using some basic kind of deductive reasoning and logical skills here to understand this at a wider level, because we always talk about paint correction before a ceramic coating. And while yes, there's a lot of reasons for that, we're going to get into it, it is important to understand also that there's just basic logic that would say, if we correct paint and at least at a microscopic level level it out a little bit in terms of the paint correction we're doing or the paint enhancement, and in other ways we're also kind of, again, removing those visual imperfections, but when we're correcting or we're enhancing paint at some level, even again at a microscopic level, if we're not wet sanding, we still are going to be leveling out that paint at a very, very small level. And with that leveling is going to come a, let's just say, easier surface for the coating to cure to, and you're essentially going to get just this better curing process that's going to allow that wax, sealant, ceramic coating to last a longer amount of time. On the YouTube channel, I've actually done different tests where we apply simple spray sealants like Technician's Choice, Meguiar's Express Spray Wax, or even P&S Bead Maker to polished surfaces and non-polished surfaces, and we actually look at the difference over 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and we see which lasts the longest. And it is absolutely, without a doubt, the coatings that last the longest, or the spray sealants that last the longest, are going to be those that are applied to paint that has been corrected. Now, I say that because when we have a conversation about ceramic coatings and paint correction, the conversation always inevitably revolves around the correction needing to be done because you are in some sense sealing in any imperfections that are on the paint with the ceramic coating, and you want to make sure that the visual appeal is at the highest level. While that is true, we want to make sure that the visual appeal is kind of at top tier level, because we're going to be putting this coating on. It's going to add a bunch of wet, kind of slick look to the paint, and we want to make sure those swirls and kind of basic oxidation are taken care of. It is also important to understand that the other reason why we do this is simply because that coating is designed to cure in a lot of ways to a painted surface that has been corrected. It's also going to increase that durability and longevity like we talked about. But the question still remains, do I have to correct paint? Do I have to enhance the paint before a coating is applied? The oversimplified answer is no. You actually do not have to do that. I want to pose kind of a catch-22 question for you guys. One of the most common, let's say, ceramic coating customers that you will find in your detailing business when you begin to offer ceramic coatings and paint correction is people who buy their vehicles new, or they've just had a car that is new to them. They have this emotional attachment to it. They want to make sure that it's maintained from the beginning, right? How many moms say, okay, I've got this new SUV, or I've got this new sedan, I've got this new van, whatever it is, and the kids are not going to eat in this car because I want it to stay like new. Well, how long does that last? It lasts a couple months and then it wears off because the car inevitably was not kept clean, and so their emotional attachment kind of degrades, and they're like, hey, I don't really care what happens to this car. I just want my kids to be not inconvenient. Okay, I just want to give them food so I don't have to worry about it. So there's a sweet spot where we actually can open up a conversation about ceramics with the customer in the beginning of their ownership of the car. My question to you is this. Yes, I understand that on a dealer's lot, or even a used car that might be new to the person, that the paint, even on a new car, is not necessarily perfect. Yes, it needs to be cleaned. Yes, it needs to be washed. Yes, it needs to be decontaminated. But could we argue that it is more problematic to correct a new car's paint and then apply the ceramic coating than it would be to just clean it, decontaminate it, and apply the ceramic coating? Because in that paint correction process, we're removing at least a microscopic amount of that clear coat, when we could just live with the very, very few imperfections that are on the paint and go ahead and coat it from the beginning, giving the longest life of the clear coat to the car possible, as well as giving it that awesome ceramic coating wet look appearance. In my opinion, there is a very, very awesome sweet spot in the beginning stages of a customer owning a car where not only do you not have to correct the paint in order to apply the coating to it or even enhance it, but you can also create certain lower tiered or lower level price points for this service, because you're basically nixing one of the most time consuming and labor intensive processes of applying the ceramic, which of course is the preparation in terms of the paint correction. If you can eliminate that paint correction process altogether, and this customer is not looking to spend $2,000 on a ceramic coating, you can create a package for them that is very tailored to what they need, and it's also very attractive for what they want. So when we say, do we have to do paint correction before we apply ceramic coatings? The simple answer is no. And while we only pointed out one situation where this would be relevant, there are indeed more ways in the real world of paint correction and coatings where it does make sense to hold off on the paint correction or enhancement before the coating is actually applied, just based on some simple, logical, kind of deductive reasoning skills. Now, the next question that is often asked when it comes to ceramic coatings is, do I have to be certified before I start installing ceramic coatings? Well, let's break that down just a little bit. Number one, before I say anything, it's important for me to make a disclaimer. Ceramic coating certification is a good thing. In many ways, it is very helpful to detailers. It's very helpful in terms of the training they get. It's very helpful in terms of even just simple status symbols as far as being certified by certain companies and maybe not certified by others. I am not against certification whatsoever. But what we see happening in the detailing industry, and this was obviously expected, is that many ceramic coating companies are coming out with coatings where they require zero certification whatsoever in order to actually, for the detailer, in order to get their hands on the coating. And those coatings are 3-year coatings, 5-year coatings, in some cases 8-year, 9-year, 10-year coatings. And while we might give them the label consumer grade because they are available at a retail level and there's no barriers of entry, it's not necessarily consumer grade in terms of the application or the length of time that it actually lasts on the paint. So an example that I would give is the Nasiol NL 272 coating. It's about a $350 coating, and you can buy it on Amazon. That particular coating is absolutely a professional grade coating. I actually coated a customer's Audi with it a few years ago, and it is as if I just coated it yesterday. It's still intact at just a perfect level. But that particular coating is a great example of a 5 to 7 year coating, potentially even longer, depending on how it's maintained, that is completely available at the consumer level, no certification required whatsoever. In the detailing world, oftentimes detailers trying to get into the ceramic coating world get tripped up and say, I can't do anything before I get my hands on this certification. And the fact of it is, as with many things in the detailing world, once again, while I'm not against certification at all, it has been made to seem a little bit more overcomplicated than I think it should be. Now, you could say, well, Luke, you're used to applying ceramic coatings. You do it every day. You've been doing it for years. Of course, it seems easy, and maybe that's true. Maybe there are nuances that I'm not thinking about because you just do it all the time, so you don't think about those more elementary principles, and certainly that training is very helpful. But my point is, for example, the coating that I'm using in this video that's going to be around a 2 or 3 year coating, it's not rocket science when it comes to the application. Really what I've found is where the training is necessary is in the business aspect, not necessarily in the hands-on technical training, though that is once again very, very important. So to answer the question simply, the second one we brought up, do I have to be certified in order to apply ceramic coatings? My simple answer is no, you do not have to be certified in order to apply ceramic coatings. Now, the third major question that's actually one that's really interesting to talk about that often comes up in terms of ceramic coatings, starting with ceramic coatings or a ceramic coating application, and then people wondering about certain things or how it's going to play into their business is this. People often ask, is it really profitable or let's say preferable for me as the detailer to start offering ceramic coatings if it's really just kind of like this one and done interaction with the customer? I apply the ceramic coating to their vehicle, it protects it for the next 5 years, and I don't see that customer for the next 5 years. Now, this is a multifaceted and kind of layered, let's say, question, and it takes a lot of talking about different things and kind of a multidisciplinary approach here. But there's a couple things I would say. Number one, any detailer that I've ever spoken to, which I get to talk to literally detailers every single day, all the time, dozens every single month from all around the globe, but particularly the United States, and in my business as well, what you find is that in the ceramic coating world, as you begin to apply ceramic coatings to different vehicles for different customers, the idea that your supply of customers will decrease because of that is really just not true. Not only does word of mouth pretty much instantly increase, because in a lot of ways we might say that ceramic coatings are more of a hot topic of conversation among non-detailing people than classic detailing is, right? So we can just think about this psychologically. People who aren't detailers don't talk about detailing. Even if they get their vehicles detailed on a regular basis and they're a maintenance customer and all that sort of stuff, they don't talk about it. There's nothing like of interest there. What you'll find in the ceramic coating world when you talk to, let's say, lay people who are not ceramic coating specialists, paint correction specialists, or detailers, they're really impressed in some ways. They're really taken by the idea of a ceramic coating, and certainly they're very taken by the ceramic coating actually on their vehicle. It's really cool to them. It's something people often talk about. In fact, your ceramic coating customers in many ways will become your biggest salespeople by accident. So that's the first thing to say here. The word of mouth is really, it's not only strong probably in the detailing businesses you guys already own, but it really just increases. The supply of customers does not decrease. The other thing that's important to mention here is when we talk about the conversation surrounding maintenance clients, this is basically the maintenance client's heaven. So I speak often about maintenance clients, and it's what our entire online program is centered around. We're not, that program is not open, nor can anybody get into it right now. But within that program, we talk about how to build a detailing business, and we basically take guys from nothing and building their detailing businesses, not just on customers, but on repeat customers specifically. So they have recurring revenue within their detailing businesses, and they can scale it as they see fit. Offering ceramic coatings and paint correction only adds to this in the most natural way. You might say that it's kind of like a company that starts a t-shirt brand, right? And they make a ton of money selling t-shirts. Well, what's one of the most natural things that they might go to next? Well, it might be hats, right? Because people who wear t-shirts also really like hats. And if they really like your brand, they're probably also going to dive into your hat supply as well. It's kind of the same thing here. When you start offering ceramic coatings and paint correction in your detailing world, your customers who are maintenance clients already or just clients at some level already, begin to jump on this maintenance client bandwagon because because ceramic coatings lends itself to maintaining the coating itself. People underestimate radically what kind of, let's say, leveling up of the type of customer you actually begin to attract when you offer ceramic coatings and paint correction. It's a different type of customer than the person who pays for the $250 interior and exterior detail. It's a very, very different type of customer. So I say that simply because when you have a maintenance client strategy already implemented in your detailing business, once again, the ceramic coating addition, not only can it become the major part of your business, but it also lends itself to what you're already doing, and your customer supply really just increases from that point on. Now, we are about to take a look at the final result of this Mercedes because I want you guys to be able to see it, but just make sure, if you are new to the ceramic coating and paint correction world, make sure to go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free online video series. You literally can come from a complete beginner's background. You can come from already applying ceramics and doing paint correction. Everybody can get something out of this, and if you are afraid because you're not certified, if you're afraid because it feels overcomplicated, and if you're afraid that you might mess something up or just spend money on products that don't work and you don't need them, this is perfect for you. We walk you through a 5-part video series. They're extremely easy to digest, and it's extremely, extremely easy to get your hands on because it doesn't cost anything. Once again, it's below in the YouTube description box. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and if you're wondering about any of the tools or products that I specifically used in this video, I will link those down below as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the after result.